If I went on the internet and called the Barbie movie the biggest movie of 2023, I doubt a lot of people would contest that.
It had a lot of pre-release hype, from the teaser trailer and casting announcements. Even the paparazzi shots of the actors filming helped spur on trends and popularize aesthetics. And then when the marketing campaign accelerated in the immediate months prior to release, we were bombarded with every sort of marketing thing you could feasibly pin on a film. T-shirts, hoodies, bags, dog clothing, roller skates, collabs with makeup brands, watches, sneakers, Crocs, a star-studded soundtrack with 90 million vinyl variants, an Airbnb modeled after the dream house, this Barbie popcorn bus, whatever the hell this sauce is supposed to taste like, not to mention the more standard cinema merch like popcorn buckets and novelty cups. But of course, I'm a doll collector first, and this is Oliver's Dolls, so naturally the toy line is what I was intrigued by the most.
It's also, I believe, the biggest missed opportunity I've seen from Mattel in a long time.
In this video, I want to talk about how Mattel, in my opinion, woefully mismanaged the Barbie movie dolls.
Usually I like to be a little bit more balanced about doll lines in my videos, and not just go into full hater mode, but in this video I kinda just want to complain. Not because I necessarily enjoy being a hater, though, you know, we all have a slither at that in our system somewhere, but because I see potential. And I said this on my channel before, but sometimes the missed potential of a promising concept can be more frustrating than just releasing something underwhelming. And this was like the easiest slam dunk that Mattel could have took, and I want to talk about why.
So, let's go over the many missed opportunities of the Barbie movie dolls, and why they didn't quite do Kenough.
Hi everyone, I'm Ari Lynette and welcome to the Oliverse. Quick note, this video is going to mostly revolve around the release strategy of the Barbie movie dolls and less so about the dolls themselves. While I do have some criticisms of the dolls, I think the execution on the majority of them is pretty solid. And I even own President Barbie, who I think is excellent. So please don't think that I'm saying that these dolls are bad or that they're the main problem here, because neither of those things are true. The problem here is the way that they were released. And I think that there are three crucial factors, just checking. Sometimes I'm not good at like counting numbers with my fingers. Three crucial factors that greatly let down this release, each big enough to warrant their own little discussion within this video. Starting off with...
One of the big moments with this film's marketing was the casting, and in particular the 24 character posters showing off the different Barbies and Kens that would show up in the movie.
So, given this hype surrounding the film's cast, let's go into which of them got made into dolls. I'll go wave by wave, going through each of the released dolls, both the play line and collector's lines, and maybe give some opinions, I don't know.
Naturally, as the two main characters of the film are Margot Robbie's Barbie and Ryan Gosling's Ken, it makes sense that they have multiple dolls throughout the lines. Wave 1's playline options are Perfect Day Barbie in the pink gingham dress, and Beach Ken in his matching striped shirt and swim shorts. These are the main characters in their first big outfits from the film, they both make sense. Wave 2's playline options are the roller skating Barbie and Ken, plus Barbie in her pink jumpsuit. The roller skating dolls aren't my personal taste, but they're part of a crucial scene from the film and have a strong visual aesthetic, so they make sense. The pink jumpsuit Barbie is a little more of a curveball, but I like that we got a Barbie with an updo and a doll in general wearing the pink jumpsuit, which appears on multiple characters in the film. As for collector's options, we have Barbie and Ken's Western outfits, which were probably the most crucial looks to include in the whole line, with this Barbie being one of the best sellers. There are two other Margot Robbie Barbies and two other Ryan Gosling Kens to mention. There's Gold Disco Barbie from the Dance the Night scene, plus the mint plaid Barbie from the Return to Barbie Land scene. Then there's the denim Ken, and finally Ken in his post-takeover fur coat outfit.
All of these doll releases make sense, but it does feel a little bit weird when you realise that only 5 other characters get dolls.
In the standard collector line, you have Simu Liu's rival Ken in the gold tracksuit, which makes sense as he's the second main Ken in the film, plus Issa Rae's President Barbie, who also makes sense as she's one of the most prominent Barbies other than Margot Robbie's. We then have Gloria, the main human character, getting a doll in this pink pantsuit, randomly on a made-to-move body because Mattel felt like it? It makes sense for her to have a doll, but something about this doll feels off to me. Maybe it's because I don't think she looks much like America Ferrera, who plays her in the film. Also, is it just me, or is this pantsuit like way brighter than the one she gets in the film? Those three dolls are the only standard collector dolls to be released that aren't the main Barbie and Ken. The other two got limited releases via the Mattel Creations website. The first is Weird Barbie, who was definitely a worthwhile release, as she's a crucial part of the film, though it sucks that she only gets a made-to-order release via Mattel Creations rather than a full in-store release. There's also pictures of a second Weird Barbie that might have been on the cards, but hasn't been released so far. The other character is Sugar Daddy Ken, a character that only appears in the background in a couple of scenes and gets like 2 lines clarifying who he is and why his name is like that. I have no problem with them releasing Sugar Daddy Ken as a doll, but I do think it's strange that he got a doll and a lot of these other characters didn't.
The cast of supporting Barbies and Kens really help build up this film's world and build up the world of Barbie Land, and they have some great memorable moments in the film, in multiple outfits. So it's frustrating that the majority of them don't get any doll representation.
Why didn't we get a doll of Alexandra Shipp's writer Barbie, who has a main part in helping to deprogram the other Barbies? How about Harry Neff's Dr. Barbie, who not only DJs and serves trans excellence, but also gets the iconic line, "Flat feet!" Sorry, that was a terrible impression. We've also got Sharon Rooney's lawyer Barbie, Emma Mackey's physicist Barbie, not to mention the other Kens. I mean, Ncuti Gatwa played a Ken in this film and would then be cast as Doctor Who.
And while yes, there have been listings confirming that we will be getting a doll of his version of the Doctor, which I'm very excited about, I think we still deserve the Ncuti Ken.
Even Gloria's daughter Sasha would have been a great choice, since she was such a big part of the film. Though making a Barbie of her would be ironic considering she called Barbie a fascist. All is forgiven.
But by far, the biggest and most baffling omission was Alan.
The mere presence and existence of Michael Cera's Alan in this movie became a meme in itself, spawning a whole host of merchandise featuring the character. I believe it also influenced the release of the Silkstone reproduction of the original Alan doll on Mattel Creations, but that's not a Barbie movie doll, is it? It's not branded as such, it's a reproduction of a doll from the 60s, down to the face and sculpted hair, neither of which correspond with the movie dolls. Most notably, Silkstone bodies are made of a different material to mimic the look and feel of porcelain, though not even in the same ballpark as the standard articulated bodies used on the movie dolls.
I'm glad the Silkstone repro exists. It looks great. It's a worthwhile release. But the fact that Mattel didn't also produce a movie Alan doll is perhaps I'll say it. Perhaps the strangest decision I'll discuss in this entire video.
He's a prominent side character in the film, not to mention a legacy character. Plus he seemed to get a lot of press attention, both pre and post-release, both for funny and sincere reasons. There was even discussion on whether the character was queer-coded.
Mattel, you could have profited not only from nostalgic collectors and movie fans, but also from rainbow capitalism and outrage marketing. And you didn't? Did you learn nothing from Credible World? Get your ass up and queerbait. Seems like no one wants to queerbait these days.
But it would have been so easy for Mattel to make more of these characters, maybe as some store exclusives, or in 2-packs, or with a playset, because the demand is there.
And you might say, well, these other Barbies and Kens weren't all that crucial to the film, so why make them all as dolls? And that is fair. It wouldn't make sense for Mattel to make every single Barbie and Ken that appears in the movie in every single outfit that appears in the movie. Like, yeah, that's fair.
It's not like the Cars franchise, where they got so big on merchandise sales that they made diecasts of every single backgrounder car, or they counted every time Lightning McQueen got a bug stuck in his teeth as a separate release. But making $1 of each of the more popular Barbies and Kens isn't that far-fetched of an idea. Hell, if they're still making waves of those Barbie Lux dolls, then more movie Barbie should be an easy sell. Part of this is that, aside from the characters, there's love for the actors that factors into this. For example, I've never seen Ted Lasso. Leave your judgments in the comments below. But when I saw that they were putting out a doll based on Hannah Waddingham's character, I was excited because even though I don't know that character, I would still happily buy a Hannah Waddingham doll. I love that woman.
If Mattel knows anything about gay people, and I'm speaking from experience here, then they should know we go hard for our favourite actresses. And if they put out a doll based on Harry Neff, or Dua Lipa, or Nicola Coughlan, I'm gonna wanna buy it. Another reason why this is a problem is not just because there's demand for these characters as dolls, but because for a movie that's cast such an engaging, lovable, and diverse cast of Barbies and Kens, Mattel sure seems hesitant on actually making them into dolls.
Like, how are you gonna say this is Barbie when you only produce these Barbies as dolls. It feels counter to the message that Barbie has been putting out over the past decade, especially with their career lines and fashionistas, but also against the spirit of the film, at least from a production perspective. It's a big deal to have a Hollywood movie with Barbies of different races and plus-size Barbies and a trans Barbie, and that ought to be reflected within the toy line.
What was I made for? More like, why weren't they made, am I right?
Stop clapping!
There's one other lineup issue that only really manifested after the film's release, and that's the Ken of it all.
It's fair to say that there's been something of a Ken-assance as the result of the Barbie movie, with Ryan Gosling's performance and the song I'm Just Ken getting a lot of attention. This kind of got to the point where there was this Twitter discourse on whether or not Ken was getting too much attention, and how it was ironic for a man to be the standout of a movie so defined by womanhood. Yes, that is ironic, and also kind of tragic.
And I do think this bled into the doll line with the release of the second wave and beyond, which has a sizable Ken presence.
I don't think it helped that they held back the release of the Western Ken until the second wave, whereas the matching Barbie came out in the first wave. Because now you have 2 Margot Robbie Barbies, roller skater and jumpsuit, plus the made-to-order weird Barbie, and then the rest of the lineup is Kens. There's the aforementioned Western Ken, roller skating Ken, fur coat Ken, and then randomly Sugar Daddy Ken.
Still none of the other supporting Kens, still none of the supporting Barbies, still no Alan, I swear to God, Mattel. But the one release that solidified this issue, the one that really, really tipped me over the edge, was the Kenough hoodie Ken.
I haven't even mentioned this doll up until now, just to really needle how out of nowhere this release felt. It's another Ryan Gosling Ken, made to order on Mattel Creations, but with a new photorealistic facial screening? Not at all in line with the other movie dolls, wearing the I Am Kenough hoodie from the end of the film.
And I just don't get why this doll needed to exist.
None of the other movie dolls went photorealistic. Even the lead Barbie, you know, the one the movie's named after, didn't get one in this style. Plus this outfit only appeared in the movie for like 7 seconds tops. Even that's generous. Now I get that this hoodie was a big deal and it spawned a bunch of merch, both official and not. I'm not judging.
This Alan shirt is itself an AliExpress original that I got for Halloween last year.
But if you wanted to make the hoodie in doll form, why not just make it a fashion pack? Mattel Creations have done this before. The Gap X Barbie collab had a doll-size hoodie as a single-piece fashion pack. In fact, it would have been smarter to do this as to encourage people to buy an existing movie Ken to wear the hoodie. But no, the world wants more Ken, so we're getting more Ken.
Great. Guess that's the price of a viral moment. Speaking of price...
In July 2021, Mattel's CEO, Ynon Kreiz, talked about the need to increase prices of Mattel product due to multiple factors, many of which spawned from the economic impacts of COVID.
These factors are valid and definitely not just plucked out of thin air. Things like shipping and supply costs, particularly with their overseas markets, which they have many, many of.
But I want to highlight this CNBC article from 2022, which cites 2 different perspectives on price increases in the toy industry, one from Hasbro and one from Mattel. Hasbro was expecting these price increases to in turn lower toy sales, while Mattel was expecting consumers to, and I quote, accept new price increases and continue to buy the same volume and velocity that they have been doing during the pandemic.
So essentially, Mattel looked at these price increases and thought, oh, they'll be fine with it. Look at my face. Do I look fine with it? People don't like paying more for the same thing. Anyone that buys anything on a regular basis can tell you that.
There's also a UK-specific pricing trend I want to mention.
For some reason, many of Mattel's releases have arrived in this country with a higher price tag compared to how they're priced in the States.
For example, Monster High's signature dolls are priced at $25 in the US but £30 in the UK, whilst Ultimate Secrets are priced at $30 in the US but £37 in the UK. Just for context, as of editing this section, $30 USD would convert to £23.22. You would think that the price numbers would be flipped to reflect the actual exchange rate, but no, these dolls are just more expensive in the UK. To the point where I've had experiences importing dolls via US Amazon and gotten them cheaper through there with customs than I would have just buying them from a UK store.
Again, this could be down to import and shipping rates, but who's to say? Could be payback for that time to colonize them, which is fair enough. Now, both of these pricing trends are relevant in the conversation of the Barbie movie range because, in my opinion, the Barbie movie range has some questionable pricing. First off, the separation of the playline and collector's assortments.
The playline assortment is priced at $25, which to me makes sense. For the outfit quality, the hair fiber, the articulation, yeah, I have no issues with that. But you also have the collector assortment, which is priced at $50, and the difference between the dolls in these two assortments really isn't that different. Some of them have more elaborate outfits, like President Barbie, some of them use different bodies, like Made to Move and the superhero arms, but mostly it's like they come in a bigger box.
The differences between these dolls does not justify doubling the price of the collector's assortment, other than like a couple of the dolls in there.
Again, President Barbie is literally in a ball gown, and Weird Barbie is a made-to-order, made-to-move, try saying that 7 times fast. But what's really that different between the $25 jumpsuit Barbie and the $50 pantsuit Gloria? Is it the separate pants? Does a single doll-sized jacket warrant a $25 price difference? Did they put Gloria on a made-to-move body just so they could charge more for her? Why is the Western Barbie $50 when her trouser buckling is printed on? Surely actual buckling would justify this kind of price increase.
But no, Mattel just throws a bunch of darts, and the dolls that it hits are marked as collector dolls, and now we have to pay twice as much.
You have a $25 beach Ken and a $50 denim Ken. All you're paying extra for is fabric underwear and a side glance. But I guess this is the only way Mattel is going to give you actual denim, by ransom.
So yeah, not only are the price increases frustrating, but they're also inconsistent, which I think makes it worse. If you can rationalize a price increase and understand the logic behind it, you're more likely to be forgiving of it. But if it's this random and segmented by these tenuous assortments, it's impossible to understand the logic, and chances are you'd sooner just put it down to greed.
I think one of the other symptoms of this price issue is the amount of knockoff Barbies and Kens kicking about. There are so many of them, and they're just so obviously imitating the film outfits without actually saying as much. And while the outfit quality and the dolls themselves are almost always less than the real thing, they're also far more affordable. Dare I say, it feels like these rando toy companies are taking better advantage of the Barbie movie than, you know, the company that's supposed to be making the dolls, the company that co-produced the film.
And I haven't even gotten to the UK prices of these dolls.
The RRP of the $25 playline assortment over here is £42.99. They couldn't even stop at just £30, which I would have understood given how they've been pricing Monster High over here. For the $50 collector assortment, meanwhile, you can expect to pay £62.99 for each one. And sure, some of these prices have been lowered in the last few months, but would they have done that if the dolls were selling? Something I haven't mentioned is that when those first pictures of the Margot Robbie Barbie popped up, a lot of people didn't like the face that much. And while people warmed up to it over time, people are less likely to buy a doll for full price if they have to warm up to it first.
I'm not passionate enough about any of these dolls to buy them for full price. I even waited to buy President Barbie on sale for around £44 instead of the RRP's $62.99.
And that's not even accounting for those who want multiple dolls, let alone the whole set.
But that's okay, you don't need to own every doll.
Instead, you could just get the Barbie movie fashion pack and dress your existing dolls in those outfits. You can get her beach outfit, sleepwear outfit, and her blue and white driving outfit in a 3-piece fashion pack.
For the low price of $66.99! Nope, I'm not doing this. I'm done. No, Paul can finish the video.
Yeah, at a certain point, you look at these prices and think, why do I do this? Why do I buy anything new when these toy companies gouge up the prices so high? It's the kind of thing that makes you want to retire to a life of lingering in the secondhand market like a Dickensian ghost. All life reduced to vague memories of overlock hems.
Sorry, that got way more existential than I intended. What I mean to say is that this isn't very good, and people didn't like it. I also want to briefly touch on the role of Mattel Creations in all of this. Mattel Creations, the perpetual thorn on my side.
So Mattel Creations offers exclusive dolls as well as listings for more widely available collector Barbies. These exclusives often come with higher shipping costs, especially for international consumers, depending on whether they even allow them to buy from their country. And if you don't get the dolls from there, your only other option is the resellers, and no, never mind. Bear in mind, Mattel Creations is already like a grand showcase of Mattel's frankly buck-wild pricing scheme. Just look at Monster High's collector line. You have dolls at $50, $75, $90, or if you're feeling extra affluent, get one of the Off-White collab dolls for $150.
Mattel can just price these dolls however they feel like. It's bafflingly arbitrary.
And with the Barbie movie dolls, you have more niche exclusives like Sugar Daddy Ken and him. But then you have Weird Barbie, who's a main character being locked to this site as an exclusive. Well, other than, you know. That's another $50, but now with added shipping fees, and God help if you get a doll with a messed up face.
I didn't want to come into this video vilifying Mattel for their price increases, because again, there are understandable reasons. But seeing all these times where they've just jacked up the prices in the most scattershot fashion, it kind of does make you vilify them. It just does. The final big complaint I have is about the release of the dolls after the movie, and how there wasn't very many of them.
The first wave of dolls officially released in June 2023, then the movie came out on July 21st. A few weeks later, they dropped the second wave of dolls in early August. And then...
yeah, they just didn't make any more waves of these dolls.
And I don't know the specifics on why they didn't release more of them. God knows Mattel has a special talent for making buck-wild decisions.
Maybe they wanted to focus on keeping consistent stock levels for the existing dolls. Maybe they didn't want to overload the market with releases. Maybe the existing dolls weren't selling that well because Mattel had priced them too high. Either way, wrapping up the majority of the doll launches for the biggest movie in 2023, let me stress that, within 2 months of release, I don't get why they did that.
Just for context, Barbie's digital home release was in September, while its physical home release was in October. It also got a streaming release in December through Max. You could have had a new wave of dolls release at any point between that digital home release and it getting put on Max. Instead, all we got were the droplet releases of Sugar Daddy Ken and the made-to-order Hoodie Ken, only on Mattel Creations.
And this is the holiday season! Did Mattel just not want to make money?
Did they not feel like capitalizing on the film's 8 Academy Award noms from earlier this year? They just moved on to overpriced Barbie-style fashion packs and ugly collector Kens.
Until June 2024, when Mattel dropped a brand new Barbie the movie doll. Sort of.
So this year, Barbie launched their mini Barbie Land line of surprise-packed 1.5-inch mini dolls. And while the majority of this line was based on dolls from the Fashionistas and Reveal lines, they did release a set themed to the Barbie movie. This set included a fabulous-looking Dreamhouse playset and a miniature Perfect Day Barbie.
There were just 2 little problems.
1, this was a Mattel Creations drop, and 2, it was priced at $50. Just for comparison, the Playline Mini Barbie Land Dreamhouse is only $9.99, with a single mini doll priced at $4.99. And while the movie Dreamhouse is more extravagant than the Playline one, plus it comes with a doll, this is still nowhere near a $50 product. I'd say like $25 for this set, maybe $30 at a push, depending on if the diorama-style packaging is more than just a plastic carton. Oh, and we're not even going to address the SDCC exclusive Ken version. You will not like what I have to say. More has been promised from the mini Barbie Land range on Mattel Creations, plus there have also been some listings for new Barbie movie dolls, specifically, some more Kens.
Yay! I mean, Mattel doesn't have a time machine as far as I know, so I don't really see a solution to this problem.
Sure, they could still just randomly start releasing dolls of the other movie characters, but even then, that's still a late response.
The truth of the matter is, they missed the boat with this release.
Even if you like the dolls they did release, it's hard not to focus on the dolls they didn't. And if your favourite character did get a doll, there's still a chance you'd have to pay through the roof to get one.
And I don't want to shame people if they did pay full price for these. Everyone has their own balking points and levels of enthusiasm. That's completely fair. I also think complaining about every release can get annoying and repetitive and ultimately not really change anything.
But for a release this big, for a movie this popular with such a large cultural footprint, to just be so much less than it could have been, it's too frustrating not to talk about it.
I mean, it's the Barbie movie. What happened? Because I don't like to just complain without providing a solution, and let's face it, the opportunity has passed at this point for any meaningful change, I'll wrap up this video with my fantasy lineup of the waves of the Barbie movie dolls.
First of all, we're not going to have 2 assortments. We're going to have 3. Playline dolls will still be $25, the collector dolls will still be $50, but now we're also going to have an intermediate assortment at $40. I know this kind of goes against my earlier argument about confusing assortments, but having 3 assortments will allow for some of the less ornate collector dolls to be docked to lower price points, making them more accessible while emphasizing the deluxe nature of the remaining collector dolls. Also, another assortment means more dolls, meaning more opportunities to make some of those missing characters. Each one of these waves will will also have one exclusive Mattel Creations release, you know, to satisfy the shareholders. Wave 1 releases in June, as it does in real life. Playline is going to be 3 Barbies and 3 Kens. We'll still have the Perfect Day Barbie and Beach Ken, but we'll also have Alexandra Shipp's Writer Barbie and Emma Mackey's Physicist Barbie, plus Ncuti Gatwa's Artist Ken and a Playline Alan. Western Barbie and Ken are in the same wave this time around, and will be moved to the intermediate line alongside a standard-bodied Gloria and Simu Liu's gold jumpsuit Ken. The collector dolls will be the most elaborate ones of the set. President Barbie for her ornate gown, gold jumpsuit Barbie for the sheer amount of sequins, and Weird Barbie for her made-to-move body. And she's the only character who needs this body type, so she's the only one who's getting it. The remote control car would stay the same. The non-remote control car now comes with Barbie in a blue and white outfit from that one promo pic, you know, the one where she's in the car. The other 2 fashion pack outfits are now sold separately at $15, with some other outfits from the other Barbies being made as fashion packs alongside these 2. This wave's Mattel Creations exclusive would be Midge, since I doubt Mattel is clamoring to put out another pregnant doll onto physical shelves, but come on, why wouldn't you make Midge? It's Midge for Christ's sake. Wave 2 would be pushed back to September to allow for the first wave to get its moment, and I'm completely overhauling the Playline range. I'm gonna steal an idea from the knockoffs and package the roller skating Barbie and Ken in a 2-pack, just for some format variation. Playline Wave 2 would now include Harry Neff's Dr. Barbie, Anna Cruz Kane's Judge Barbie, Kingsley Benadier's Basketball Ken, and Scott Evans's Stereotypical Ken, alongside the pink jumpsuit Barbie. The intermediate line will include Return to Barbieland Barbie and Denim Ken, who I've both held back from the first wave to save for this one. I'm also adding Sharon Rooney's Lawyer Barbie in her fabulous periwinkle suit. I'm just a sucker for this kind of outfit, I have to have it. The collector line will include the fur coat Ken and a new addition, Mermaid Barbie. This is another obvious release to me. Dua Lipa doll? I'd buy it. Sugar Daddy Ken would release as the Mattel Creations exclusive, and we'd get a second wave of fashion packs with some Ken outfits in the mix this time. I'd also have store exclusive releases slated for November for a little extra holiday push. Firstly, I'd have Ritu Aria's Journalist Barbie as a Playline store exclusive. You can even pick the shop if you like. There'd be a Costco exclusive truck playset based on the one from the deprogramming scene, featuring a repackaged pink jumpsuit Barbie, and an Amazon exclusive 2-pack of Barbie and Ken in their first edition outfits from the opening of the film. And then there would be a Wave 3, releasing in late December to early January to round off the main range. I would use the Playline range this time around to introduce some alternate and more affordable versions of the main characters, namely a new Margot Robbie Barbie based on her blue collared dress from her meeting with Weird Barbie, Gloria in her polka dot outfit from her iconic monologue scene, and more casual outfits for President Barbie and the rival Ken. The Kenough hoodie would also release as a fashion pack. The intermediate line would include that unreleased second Weird Barbie, plus Barbie and Ken's driving outfits, while the collector line would feature Nicola Coughlin's Diplomat Barbie and Will Ferrell's CEO. And if you think that last one's better, strap in. I'm not done. The Mattel Creations exclusive this wave would be John Cena's Ken Made. You just know that would be the perfect collector's release, come on. The press alone would sell that doll. I'd use early to mid 2024 as an opportunity to introduce a new Creations exclusive line of dolls with photorealistic screenings, like the Kenough hoodie doll, but it's announced as this whole new side set of dolls, so it's not too out of the blue. These dolls would release every 1 or 2 months and would include a 2-pack of Barbie and Ken from the Push scene, which I believe is a rumored upcoming release. This would also be a great opportunity to make more of the other characters in different outfits not made during the other waves, like Alan in his gold jumpsuit, or some of the other Barbies in their gold dance the night outfits or beach outfits. This series would conclude around the fall with a 2-pack featuring Barbie in her yellow dress and, hear me out, Ruth Handler. Seriously, it's the last release, we need to go out with a bang, and this would be a gloriously meta doll to include.
And that is all for this video. Let me know what you think of the Barbie movie dolls, and more importantly, let me know what you think about how this whole release went down. If you were particularly incensed by the exclusion of a certain character, now is your time to avenge them, preferably in my comments section. If you liked this video, feel free to give it a like, and subscribe to the Oliverse Dolls YouTube channel for more fun doll content on the way. Thank you so much for watching. From me and the Pog, let's hope you have the best day ever! Just a heads up, the only reason I didn't include a Sasha doll in that fantasy lineup is because I don't think there is any legal way that Mattel would be able to make a doll called Sasha. I'd say Isaac Larian would sooner let Rainbow High succumb to a slow and painful demise, but bit late to make that analogy.